Good morning, I'm Mike Long with EMI, and I want to first thank Speedway Motors for making us a part of the Racer Appreciation Week this week, and we feel like it's a great way to connect with our customers and give you a little of background into our business and kind of what we do here. So what EMI is actually an open wheel chassis and components manufacturer for a multiple different segments in the open wheel industry. And our company isn't new by any means in that we're four major brands that have started some years ago and have actually been merged together under one roof. And now we build those cars using a pool of master fabricators from within the industry to create our products. And so I wanted to explain that a little bit this morning and kind of give you a brief history into how we got to be, or how we came to be where we are today. And what that actually looks like is in about '89, Eagle Motorsports was founded, and when it was founded by the proprietor, it was in Springfield, Illinois, and it carried on up until about 2010 in that location in Springfield, when it was actually had a strategic alliance put together with Speedway Motors. And that at that time there was a gentleman that ran the company from Australia. His name was Bill Mann, and Bill Mann and Speedway came together. We moved the company here to Lincoln, Nebraska, and we started building the Eagle cars here in Lincoln at that time. In about late 2012, Brian Schnee, who unfortunately couldn't be here with us today, joined us here in this building from Canton, South Dakota, and he moved his business down, which started in 1985 as B&J Racing Components. B&J was Brian and Gene, and as most of you know, Schnee Chassis, it was Brian and Gene that started that company. And about the winter of '86-'87, Brian created his first chassis, and they changed the name of the company to Schnee Chassis. And so their first car that they built went on to win 6 of 10 races. And then fast forward 2 years, about '89, Brian built his 17th car for Doug Wolfgang, who is a legend in sprint car racing. And Doug was able to take that Schnee Chassis to multiple nights of success, as anyone that knows sprint car racing history. And from there, Schnee Chassis was on and really gained some momentum and became an innovator and a leader in the industry. And so we were very pleased to have Brian join us for his breadth of knowledge in fabrication. And any of you that watch our Weld Wednesday videos, you'll see a lot of Brian's work in addition to some of the other excellent fabricators that we have here. It's getting to be really hard these days to look at a weld and determine whose is whose, because we do have such a high level of talent out here in the shop. But moving on with the history of our business, Stallard Chassis was to come next. And I'm just going to reference the board here quick. We're in Lincoln. Brian was in Canton, and he moved down, and then shortly thereafter, Mark Stallard, which is out in Delaware, he merged together with us, and we created a manufacturing partnership where now we were able to develop a new car called the SST for Stallard, which Frank will talk about momentarily. And we've had a great relationship with him since 2013. Moving on from there, Rick Hench, who was out in Pennsylvania, he moved in to the building about 2 years ago, and now we do the Lightning Sprint side of the business as well with the Henchcraft. And Rick is going to introduce himself to you here briefly and talk about his components as well. And then if you just look here, this is kind of how it all works. And the way that I explain it to people is it's a lot like General Motors. You have GM at the top, and then you have your Chevy, Pontiac, Buick, and so forth, and that's how we're structured as well. EMI actually describes all of our brands, and then depending on which class of racing you compete in will determine which brand of car you actually use in those types of competition. And then we also do some private label manufacturing for a sister company, which is AFCO. And they sell the cars, Robbie Stanley Racing and the AFCO, the new quarter midget, AFCO quarter midget as well. So both RSR and AFCO are quarter midgets, and we do all of the fabrication of those parts here in-house as well. And so we built a pretty unique network of businesses across the country that help us expand our business, help us take care of our customer base at a moment's notice. And so as we scan across the map here, we can see that Zimco Speed Equipment, excellent partners for sprint cars. They have a new driver this year, which is Dale Blaney. They'll be down in Florida here later next week. Mike Emhoff, also sprint cars, owns the Patriot Sprint Group up in New York, deals with a lot of 305s and 360 racers. We've got CLM up in Canada that's in Quebec. They are our Hinchcraft dealer up there. They do a phenomenal job for us. And then as we look down here, Car and Fleet in Tulsa, anyone that knows Mike and Judy at Car and Fleet, Mike and Judy Stewart, great people. They do a great business, and we're just happy to have them as part of our business as well, to share our brands with those folks. And then down south is a new one, Randall Motorsports. John Randall, he's focusing on the Stallard brand, and he's going to be able to push those products out in the south for us, and Chase, his son, doing a phenomenal job. They were just at the shootout here about a month ago. As we look a little bit west, there's Speed Mart up in the northwest, and they service the Alaska contingent for us as well. Great people, Barry up there, always have cars on hand and anything you need. Silva Motorsports and Paul Silva, most notably known for the iconic 57 car that Shane Stewart drove for years, Kyle Larson at last year's Knoxville Nationals, and Paul is also the crew chief for Rico Abreu. And so they're headed down to Florida this next week as well. But Paul's been doing a great job on the western seaboard for us and expanding our product line. And then down in Southern California is Rawson Racing, and they're a Hinchcraft dealer as well. And they do a great job with wiring harness, injection services, anything that's unique to a Japanese racing engine, they're really the experts on. And they help us push the Lightning sprints out in that area as well. As we get across the pond, you'll kind of see where we've got some infiltration in Australia, and that's PWA, which was Bill Mann, the former owner of this business, and he's in Brisbane. And then down south of Bill for midgets is Stephen Graham and Graham Racing Development, and they actually had their national title over the weekend, and American Zach Dom flew down to run the GRD car there, and so I'm actually awaiting a call to work with them on how they finished. But that just kind of gives you a brief overview of where we're spread and those that help us keep our brands in the public eye. You can see all of this on eaglemotorsports.com, and we actually invite you to go there to learn any additional information about our business. So with that, I'm going to take you out in the shop, and we're going to actually look at the business end and the fabrication that we do and how we do it. So if you want to follow me, we'll head that way. Welcome, welcome. We'll head this way. We've got a general fabrication area where we build the different cars. Each brand of car has a different segment in the shop, and they have their own champion fabricators that focus solely on those brands. And so where we're going to stop back here today is actually where we do the majority of the quarter midget manufacturing, but it's where we were able to line up some of our product and give you a little overview of what we have. So this is a sprint car, and the chassis that we manufacture here, it's a bit overwhelming because you look at the size of the car, the sprint cars, there's about 40 different iterations of that car, and we try, one of the unique things about our business is that I call ourselves a craft builder, in that we'll do anything custom to meet the customer's requirements. And so each car is unique, each car is specific to that individual, and that way we can build the most safety into the car as well. But with those 40 different iterations, we have different wheelbases, different setbacks, different wing positions, different engine angles. You get into all these different things that we're able to tailor for any one individual to ensure that they're as successful as possible. Some of the unique things that we've been able to do with the cars themselves, in addition to the welding, I've mentioned Weld Wednesday, and hopefully you see us or follow us on our Facebook page, because you'll be able to see just the top-notch quality of welding that we're able to produce here in the shop with our talented team. And you also see that on every car that we build. But in addition to the welding, we also do a good majority of materials testing. We also do a majority of destructive and non-destructive weld testing, because at the very end of the day, safety is our goal, and that's what we want to bring to each and every one of our customers. So as you look at this car, there's a few engineering traits to this that have been brought about by our team of fabricators, and you can see just certain little items here, like the billet wing spuds here and here. We've got the billet steering clamp, we have billet Jacob's ladder mounts, and all of that is in an effort to be able to put together a car seamlessly and to be able to deliver consistency and quality for every piece that we do build. So these sprint cars, we manufacture them for everybody from 305s, 360s, and 410s, all the major groups of sprint car racing. And we also have technical support here on staff to be able to support each and every one of those classes. There's actually a majority of individuals that you're going to meet today, actually, that race these vehicles here in-house, and they're able to give the highest level of technical support as well. And so with that, I want to pass on the time to Rick Hench. Rick has actually been a huge addition to our team on the engineering front and also the lightning sprints as well. And Rick has pioneered some of these things that I've actually showed you here this morning. So with that, I want to turn it over to Rick, and Rick's going to introduce you to lightning sprint racing.
Hi there, I'm Rick Hench, the founder of Henchcraft Racing Products. I founded Henchcraft in 1987 in Pennsylvania, and I started with micro sprints, and shortly after, in 1989, I saw the first, at that time it was called a mini sprint. It was motorcycle powered 4-cylinder engine, chain drive, and I really took an interest to the mini sprint division. At that time there weren't any really purpose-built lightning sprints on the market. When the division started, it was guys adapting midgets, and they still do that today. But at Henchcraft, my philosophy was always to build a purpose-built lightning sprint that was designed exclusively for the 4-cylinder motorcycle engine and the chain drive. With that drivetrain, we find that the cars, they act and handle a lot differently than the midget. So not a lot of the midget setups or design lend themselves well, has been my experience over the years, to the lightning sprint. So the evolution of the lightning sprint is what I'm showing here today. This is a 2017 model. Many updates have happened over the years, and my philosophy has always been, again, what's the best design for the purpose-built chain drive lightning sprint, and those are the things that I've developed continually with the lightning sprint design. And some exciting things that have happened recently, and for me and the business, in 2014 we relocated Henchcraft and myself to Lincoln, Nebraska here to team up with EMI and Speedway Motors for many reasons, and the resources that we have here at EMI and Speedway Motors is second to none in really the motorsports market. So this company has really set itself apart with all the divisions, the types of cars, the resources again that we have, from the engineering staff at Speedway to the marketing staff to the machine shop. So we have a lot of resources here that give someone like myself with creative engineering mind and motorsports minded to really develop some new and exciting things. And most importantly, I think, for the Lightning Sprint division, I've always said this has been the best kept secret in open wheel racing. It is never really got the credibility, I think, as the division should have. And recently, Mike Long has worked very hard with USAC and Levi Jones, and they have come together to develop a national standard rule package that most all of the sanctioning bodies and the racetracks that race lightning sprints in the country have all adopted. And USAC has sanctioned these cars and the rules and the events this year. So what's going to happen is all the local sanctioning bodies that race lightning sprints are going to be competing for a USAC championship this year. And along with that is in excess of a $10,000 point fund. So it should be a very exciting year for the lightning sprints. I hope we finally get the boost we need. Again, this type of car I feel is the best bang for your buck. I have youngsters starting as early as 12 or 13 racing these cars, and more mature folks in their 70s that are still racing. So I say I get them on each side. I get the young guys coming up. We get the older guys that come back from sprint cars or modifieds, late models even, that find that this is a really exciting, fun, and fast division of car that you can race and very affordably and be very competitive. So 2017 is shaping up to be a really exciting year for the lightning sprints. If you'd like more information about the lightning sprints, please look at our website, EMI, go to the Henchcraft section, also Speedway Motors. And if you're interested, please look at the USAC website and register with USAC and get familiar with the division. And, thank you.
What's up, guys? I'm Frank Galusha down here at EMI. I am the sales manager, but I'm also our in-house micro sprint expert, I guess, if you will. So I take a lot of the calls from customers on micro sprint questions, orders, etc. In front of me I have a Stallard chassis. Stallard is the brand that we have as far as micros are concerned. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how Stallard came to be at EMI. The Stallard brand was founded by Mark Stallard in 1985 in Newark, Delaware. For many, many years, Mark actually had set himself up very well. He was probably one of the more dominant manufacturers in the industry for decades. He was able to set some of the industry standards, such as down-tubed micro sprints, 4-bar micro sprints, and a lot of the parts that he's created we still use today, and even a lot of our competitors use today. So super awesome thing that Mark has created. At the end of 2013, we actually acquired the brand, and in 2014 we built our first Stallard for production. So since then, when we built our first car, it was actually what Mark had already created. We used some of his fixturing, but I was privileged to work with Rick, who we had just met, to design what we have here, which is the Stallard SST. It's basically our model of the Stallard, and SST stands for Stallard Series 2. One of the big initiatives I have right now is to try to educate some of the younger generation. Here shortly we'll talk a little bit about quarter midgets, and so this year you'll probably see me at some marquee quarter midget events. We're going to try to just educate families on what the next step might look like if they want to continue with their racing career, depending on their where they reside. You know, the Lightning Sprint might be a better option, but just to meet these families and to educate them, that's one big thing I'll be working on this year. I guess furthermore, if you have any questions on microsprint stuff, or you're interested in microsprints, I'm the guy you'll probably talk to. So give me a shout. I'll bring over Jason Martin, and he's going to talk to you about some of the product development and some of the quarter midget stuff.
Hi guys. So we have quite a few new products that we create here at EMI. We try to stay on top of the game as best as we can. Obviously it gets challenging whenever there's just a certain amount of things that you can do with the sprint car with the rule packages that everybody has, but we have an awesome team here at EMI, and everybody's always coming in with new ideas, new creative ideas. So we just try to make things better, easier to build, easier for the customers to work with. So I just have a couple of things here on the sprint car. Mike had already mentioned the billet wing spuds, and we'll show you in depth and a little closer to those. But aero is obviously a big thing for the sprint cars and any race car. So we've created a couple of new panels here. This is what we call a front belly pan. All you have to do is just have the radiator tabs or the panel tabs for the side of the car put on there, and it just folds right up in there. Cleans the air up underneath the bottom of the car really well. And the same thing for the back. There's a floor pan extension that we created that you can put on the back of the car. A lot of people have really been liking those. So with that, we'll go over here to this other table. I personally have a race team that we work really closely with, that we try to make everything as nice and as clean as possible for customers to be able to just buy the stuff right off the shelf and put it on as if a World of Outlaw quality team would buy the stuff. So a lot of the top level teams today are going with lightweight lines that have the fittings built right into the lines. So we have a new power steering line for the pump side. We also have the pressure line. Same thing, the fittings are built right in, so you don't have to have an extra leaky joint or what have you. So we also came up with the same scenario for your wing cylinders, and we have them plumbed to where one's a 90-degree fitting and one's a straight. They fit right in your steering gear, just bolts right up to the car. Everybody's really been liking that stuff as well. Same thing with the brake lines. We have two different versions of these. So we have the one that has the banjo fitting, where you would use a 3/8 24 thread fitting to go right in the back of the master cylinder. And then we have the one that's got a -2 or a -3 line. These are all -2 lines, but they have -3 fittings on the end. So we have complete kits where you can buy just the line if you would like, or if you want to buy the complete kit. And it comes with fittings, everything you'd need to go right from the caliper on the front all the way to the back. So that's one thing that's been a real popular item that we just come up with. I personally just put one of these kits on my car this weekend, and it's beautiful. So other lines that we created, this is a rear end vent line. So what it does is it screws right into the side of the rear end, and you put a fitting right in your chassis. We build the chassis this way so that whenever the rear end builds pressure, it's basically an overflow tank. So a lot of the top teams are using these as well. Let's see, we'll just go on with more lines. We also came up with plumbing for the fuel system. So obviously here's your main suction line, comes right out of the tank all the way to the fuel pump. We do this in complete kits as well. You can buy the individual lines. You can buy a complete kit that comes with the fuel block, all the lines, everything you need. So that's one of the biggest things that we really tried to work on, is just making it easy for the customer to buy it and put it on, and not have to worry about going and having a custom made fuel line, which gets to be very expensive. This is another item that a lot of people have really been liking. It just gets rid of all the cluster on your dash. You can have your ignition switch, your tach, and your MSD all on one plate. So if you have an issue, the motor quits running, well, you don't have to worry about it right during the middle of the race. You just take two Zeus's out, take it off the car, and put another one on and go again. So those have been a real popular item. These are our new titanium torsion stops. We have them in aluminum, we have them in steel, and we have them in titanium. They're a very nice product. They have the same size wrench for both the jam nut and the bolt. They're very, very nice. I've been really pleased with these. Here's another real new product that we came up with. You tend to get a lot of mud buildup on the right rear wheels and even in the left rear wheels. So we first started with the micro and built one for the micro, because with the chains that gets to be a real bad vibration. So we created one for the micro, which you'll see here in a minute, and then we've done one for the sprint car. It requires 2 different sizes in the overall diameter, but it's been real great for what our customers have been using it for. So it keeps the mud out of the inside of the wheel. These new nose wing posts are another thing that we've come up with. With the rules that everybody's got, they make it to where you can only have it so far from the front axle or from the front of the tires if you're racing with the 305 stuff. So we put a little slot in there so that you can move it just minutely if something happens where the post gets bent slightly, or you can buy it with a single hole. So it's pretty nice. We offer them in straight or the bent, either one. So there's 4 different options there. These titanium 1-nut studs are pretty nice. These are actually steel, but we offer them in aluminum, we offer them in steel, and we offer them in titanium. So there's one for every different style of car that you use. For some of the 305 stuff, you need to add weight, so steel's a great option, or aluminum's a cheaper, lighter option, and then you can go with titanium, who's even lighter yet, although it's a little bit more money, but they're all reasonably priced. With these are the billet wing mounts that Mike had talked about earlier. So what we've done is we've created the wing socket to where it has the gusset built right into it, and it's just a lot stronger piece. A lot of guys have really complimented, and it's kind of fitting that we actually have competitors calling and asking if they can buy this from us, because we're the only one that's been making it. So we're real proud of those pieces. Same, it goes for the nose wing post on the front. It doesn't have the gusset on it, but we just made them to match. One of the other things that we really like about our new cars, and it's always been a problem, is the bumper spuds. A lot of guys, you have to really hammer in your bumper spuds if the bumpers aren't built correctly or what have you. So what we do is we go in and ream the insides of these out before we weld them on the car, so that it just slides right on, no problems. We also work with tools. Obviously it takes a lot of tools to put race cars together, so whenever you're assembling your race car, it makes it faster and easier if you have the right tools to do your job. So with this, we created this, it's a rod end installation tool. So you can do 2 things with it. It's a multi-purpose tool, so if a guy is going to be putting rod ends together, all you have to do is just get it started, if we can. Oh, we got to put it on the right side. So you get it started like that. And all you have to do is just screw the hymen. It's by far faster if you get everything down and you can just screw your stuff right together. You don't have to worry about just sitting there all day long and unscrewing it in and out. It makes it quite a bit faster. So with that, you can install all your radius rods and hymens, and we also have the same thing that can be used, put it right on the end of your shock. Works a lot nicer if you do it with the ratchet, where you can use it to take the rod end off of your shock if you're going to put a bump rubber cup on there. It makes it real easy. All you have to do is just loosen it up and take the rod end off. Therefore you're not scratching up your rod end or gouging the bearing or anything. So it's just a nice tool that we've came up with that helps get everything going down the road faster. So that's about it for the sprint car stuff. With the micros, obviously we talked about the inner mud cover. They're splined on the inner, so it sits right on the axle and doesn't try to spin. Fits right inside the wheels, and it's been a real handy tool to keep mud out of the inside of the wheels and tires. So this is for the micro. And then with the wing cylinders, it's always been kind of an issue to where you just have a bolt that puts your wing sliders on. So we made a cute little adapter that has the bolt heads are flush and it fits on the car really nice. So they come anodized black and they're nice and light and small. So that's a new product that we've just kind of came out with. One of the other ones that we're all pretty proud of is this new style Jacobs ladder. One of the biggest adjustments that you can make on a race car, whether it's sprint car or micro, is the Jacobs ladder. And with Frank doing quite a bit of testing on his car, we learned that this is one tool that's very, very important. So we created this new ladder. It's got some really cute Jacobs ladder straps, real lightweight, and it also has different mounting positions here, so you can change the effective roll center of your race car. And if you're going from wing to non-wing, or even if you go from a big track to a little track, that's a big adjustment. So that's a really neat tool that we've got. On the car over there, and this is a new front hub that we made. It's branded specific for the EMI. What's neat about this, and I'll turn it around, is we have two different mounts on the hub for the different sized rotor. Depending on the caliper that you use and the mounts that you use, this hub is a multi-use hub, so you can use it for either one. So like I said, it's got two different mounts on there, different radius mounts, so that's a new hub, lightweight, 3-spoke hub. A lot of guys have been really liking those. And the dust cap's really nice too. It just screws right off. So you can get right to it, grease it, clean it, put it back on, and you don't have to worry about them falling off. So with the new products, that's about all for new products, other than the shock packages. I've been working closely with the shock department there at Speedway and with our team here, with all the different variations of drivers and teams that we work with throughout the country. We've developed our own shock packages for each brand of car. Working closely with the guys at AFCO and Pro, they got us some really nice pieces, and we've put together and assembled. We do quite a bit of testing with them, but we have every brand of shock that we work with, whether it's a gas style in the Pro or the gas in the AFCO or the twin tube stuff, and we even have adjustable in all brands. So that's a great tool that we've been working really closely with the shock department at Speedway on, and you'll see more about that tomorrow, as I'm going to go over tomorrow at the Speedway shock room and show you a little bit around that place and introduce you to those guys. Kaylee, do you got?
Yep. Thanks everybody for watching today. Let us know if you have any questions, and make sure to check us out online at eaglemotorsports.com. Now I'm going to pass you on to the EMI team members here.
All right.